Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. I picked up this old leg vise a couple of years ago at a boot sale, and it was sat in the corner of my old workshop and it's been sat in the garage here, and I finally thought it's time to do something with it. It's not in terrible condition. It's a bit rusty, but the mechanism all moves, even though it's a little on the stiff side. But it's certainly seen better days. It's got a couple of wedges that hold this bracket on, so the first thing was to get them taken out. Now, these were a bit tougher than I thought, so after moving to a bigger chisel, I decided to go onto my more solid workbench and have a go there. These wedges were really rusted in tightly, so I got some penetrating fluid in and just tapped everything, trying to loosen them. After doing this for a while, I decided just to stop and move on to something else. So I can undo this bolt, which I could just do by hand, it was so loose, and take the front of the vice jaws off. Now, this is not the correct use of a woodworking vise, but I managed to knock out the thread, and I was trying to catch everything, but that didn't really work. So now I've got it all apart from these pesky wedges, so I'm going to try heating up the casing. After a couple of minutes of warming it up, I can then tap it out and they started to move. I'm just using a bit of mild steel bar I had. I really need to invest in a decent punch set. With the first wedge finally out, I can then get the second one knocked out, which is much easier now. And that's it, finally all disassembled. So it's all a bit greasy and dirty, so before I do anything else, I've just got some hot soapy water. I'm going to scrub everything down. Quite a lot of muck had built up in some places, so I got a little scraper and removed as much of that as I could. I've got this plastic tub and I can get all the bits in it apart from the actual leg portion of the leg vise. I've got a 5 litre thing of evaporust which I'm going to cover this with. It's only going to cover them about halfway, so after a day I'm going to flip everything over. I'll put a link to this down below on my Amazon page and a smaller bottle if you're interested in it. So as the post of the post vise wouldn't fit in that tub, I just get a wire wheel on the angle grinder and try and get most of the rust off with that. This would have been a much better job to do outside, but I wanted to clamp it in the vise, so I really need to get some kind of vise or workmate to be able to use it outside. I hadn't left this tub out overnight and I had put a lid on because I don't want it to evaporate, but the next day I took it outside again and I just flipped everything over, and you can really see how the rust has come off. That liquid was almost clear before and now it's black. So I keep moving the bits around, trying to get every bit of it submerged, and then I leave it another day to soak. After 48 hours, all the rust is gone, and then I can wash it off and give everything a scrub. When I've got all the bits clean, I put them outside in the sun to bake and dry off. But already in half an hour they'd start to get a bit more rust on them again. So to give all the bits a bit of protection, I'm giving them a coat with this rust converter. I use this on the table saw and I thought it was a really good product. I got all the components painted with this, including the tool leg section. So with the rust converter dry on all the sections, I can start getting it put together. I'm going to start by getting the spring in, this bracket, and then those wedges need to go in to hold it all back together. I'm not going to hammer them in super tightly because I do want to take this bracket off again to mount it on a stand, and when I put it on that, then I'll tighten everything up. Before I get the front part of the jaws in, I'm just going to get plenty of grease on the mechanism. The threaded boss can then get slid back in, and then it's time to get the screw in. But before I do, I'm going to get loads of grease applied to this and smothered all over it so it runs nice and smoothly. One of the nice things about one of these vices is how coarse the threads are, so the jaws move quite a lot with only a small turn. Just to give it a little bit of extra protection, I've got this Liberton machine wax, so I'm just going to brush that on, and then all you do is leave it to dry. This is what I use on all my cast iron tool surfaces. And that's it all done. Seems to work really nicely now, but I really need a stand for it, so in the next video that's what I'm going to make. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreons, and please subscribe for more videos.